Hey Chase, very nice to meet you and conduct this interview finally. So, our first question for the day is going to be, what event triggered you into becoming a journalist?
So basically, I never wanted to be a journalist, or I didn't know I wanted to be a journalist. I went to school originally to be a child psychologist. Then I went to elementary education, and then I went on a college tour. And I was like, "Look, I like to talk to people. They have a pretty sick studio. I think I want to do this." And at the time, I was like, "Well, it was when Joan Rivers and Ryan Seacrest were a thing, and I had a saying of, I want the success of Ryan Seacrest out of the mouth of Joan Rivers, and I'm going to get paid for it." And then, once I got into news, I realized I just want to be the best dang reporter out there and tell really good stories.
Your education at Columbia College Chicago provided you with a lot of essential skills for broadcasting. What are some of those skills that you've learned in practice today?
I think college is a great place to build foundation. I think learning about ethics in journalism is really important. I think that, especially now, you look at the landscape, and I think ethics are extremely important. I think you need it to learn how to write actively versus passive. You're used to writing essays, but in news, you don't write that at all. And I think that was a big turn for me. But what was huge was the relationships I met outside of college, the hands I shook, the events that I went to meet people that could put me in a position of getting an internship at like places like ABC7 Chicago, Out Magazine in New York when I was writing. I think that's just crucial to get out there and connect with people.
You spoke a little bit about your internship at ABC7 Chicago. With that opportunity, what specifically helped you become who you are today?
I really got to learn from some of the best in the industry. I really got to sit back and watch and learn from people how they interviewed, what questions did they ask, saying, actually, no, that's not how I want to say it. Actually, I want you to answer that in a full statement. And so it's okay to stop them in the interview and say to do something like this. Like I mentioned, Ruby Wilson, she taught me don't ask questions that you can find the answer to when it came to internal processes, right? And they also taught me to always be curious.
Your experience as a multimedia journalist in Hastings provided you with a lot of learning opportunities. What helped you in those learning opportunities to become a better journalist?
It's really where you cut your teeth. And what I mean by that is you get to fail a little bit. You get to be challenged. You get to have really kind of weird video, and you learn your voice in that process. And, that's, I think, was pivotal in this. And also, I came from Chicago to Hastings, Nebraska, where Kool-Aid, the home of Kool-Aid, was made. Okay? There's no one that lives there. There's more corn than there are people. And so you really get to change, not I should say change, but you get to see yourself in a different position, and you get to meet people who aren't like you, who don't look like you, who don't have similar backgrounds as you. And that is a culture shock that I think a lot of people need to understand, that people don't have to look like you, act like you, hold the same values as you, but they can still hold a story.
Your career development started in smaller markets before you moved to your current position at 11 Alive in Atlanta. What are some of the differences between working in a smaller market versus a bigger market?
What are some of the advantages? Working in a bigger market? There's a lot more that happens. News in a small town could be harvest season. That's it, or whatever event's happening. Versus now you are telling stories that are going to be on a national stage, that are going to have a larger impact, and it's going to, people are going to have various issues because of the diverse communities that we serve, versus in Hastings, Nebraska. So there's a lot of differences. The processes of a journalist as an MMJ, multimedia journalist, are the same. I shoot, I edit, I write, I front, I source all my own stuff. Besides going live is when we have a photographer. So not much has changed there.
Do you think you thrive more in the bigger market than the smaller market?
I think I could thrive anywhere. I'm a chameleon. As long as I can work to be the best, and get the stories that people want, that make an impact, I think I'll thrive.
Which news story stands out to you the most as the most significant because it taught you a valuable lesson about journalism?
What news story taught me a valuable lesson? Actually, it was here recently. So, a individual, Mahendra Patel, he was accused of trying to kidnap a child from a Ackworth Walmart in, I believe, March or April, one of the two. Everyone jumped to it. Oh my gosh, here's this guy, what a sicko, it's caught on video, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, it wasn't caught on video at the time. Everyone took that woman's word for it. He didn't do it. He was there to help that child. The mom was riding around in a scooter, an electric scooter that she was not supposed to be in with two of her children, and her kids kept falling off of it and she kept running into things. The video showed a lot, and I think it proves that we as journalists have to be extremely, extremely careful when we make someone out to be someone they're not because someone said so. That man was a good man. He was acquitted of all his charges. The DA dropped it after sticking their heels in the ground and saying, we're going to do this. You're going to be found guilty, and he wasn't. It was a horrible situation.
What steps do you take to develop your skills as a journalist?
I'm always asking from people that have been doing this longer to go over my work. Teach me, rip me to shreds, as I said. I need you to tell me, okay, how can I be the best here? Is it my tone? Is it my delivery? Is it my writing? Is it my thoughts? What can I be doing differently to put myself in a position of being the best journalist in Atlanta, Georgia? That's it.
You like using the people around you to just help build you up and know where you can start from.
Especially when people have been doing this for decades and decades. I mean, they paved ways so we could come here. They worked their butts off because, like I said, 10 years ago in 2016 when I first got my job, this industry was hard to get into. It was harder for them. They climbed a ladder that a lot of people, I couldn't imagine having to do it. Now you have 26-year-olds starting in, market 25. So it's just a different time, but those people have ample knowledge and they can really, really teach you some great things.
Do you see yourself as one of those people now?
Yeah, I think I do now because younger generations are starting to come in. I have had the blessing and the opportunity of working with some of the best dang journalists, anchors, and reporters in the entire nation. And I'm not just saying that they're accredited. And I can use that knowledge they gave me and pass it on to other young journalists to make sure that they're going to be in the best positions coming into a new job, into a new market, and just kind of helping fine-tune those skills.
What are some of those skills that you think are essential to becoming successful journalists?
You have to be able to get on someone's level. Don't be afraid to sit on the sidewalk with somebody who's having the worst moment of their life. Give them a hug. Be compassionate. You are no better than me, and I'm no better than you. Like I said, go through a drive-through of McDonald's. That person's just as better as me. How do I put this? That person is just as good as I am. All because we have different titles doesn't mean anything. You got to learn how to write to your video. What's your best video? Start with your most compelling video. What's your most compelling sound? How are you writing? People can throw over blanket video all they want, but it doesn't tell a story. So everything you say should match what your video is.
What advice would you give to students that are pursuing journalism?
Actually, I think you said it best. I think I'm not gonna say we, I think journalists sometimes placate to people in charge because they want that access. You'll get access. You'll find access. You'll find holes. Ask tough questions. That will always set you apart from your colleagues. Everyone's thinking it, but no one's saying it. We have to say it because your viewer's thinking it. Your person on social media is thinking about it. Ask it. Dang, did he really just ask him that? That's what they're going to say because they appreciate it. And that's what's most important. And also, you said the question was, what advice would I give?
Mm-hmm.
Be human. you're no better. I think that's what one thing I see from a lot of reporters and journalists. Sometimes they think they're better. You're not. Who are you? You're nothing to them, or you're nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? And I know it sounds mean, but it's true. You're no better than anybody.
And what aspects of reporting and anchoring for Atlanta residents do you find the most rewarding?
I have to ask the tough questions. I like when people reach out to me saying, Chase, I saw this. I know that you can get me answers on that. And I can, because I'm not afraid to go knock on the doors of a squatter. I'm not afraid to run up on a DA. I'm not afraid to ask the mayor or the governor certain questions because it matters to them. They really care about this. I don't just work here, I live here too. And, I want someone to come to me whenever I can help them. I think that's important.
That's all the questions I have today. Thank you so much for this interview. I appreciate it.